Our fourth speaker is Mike Storkey. I believe Mike is here, right? Okay, yes. So I was looking at. I'm very grateful, Mike, you joined with us District 100 because your time is 4 a.m. or before 4 a.m. in Australian time. So thanks again. I really appreciate. So I'm going to introduce you. Let's begin our meeting speech. Mike joined Toastmasters with his wife Leslie 35 years ago in the Whit Sundays, a coastal resort town in far north Queensland, Australia, not looking to improve their communication or leadership skills, but rather to improve their social interaction in a new community. Mike, being competitive by nature, soon discovered speech competitions, which eventually led him to competing at district level. He attributes this experience as being the motivation to try leadership opportunities outside the club. Becoming an area governor eventually led him to the position of international president in 2016. Married to Leslie with 5 adult children, Mike believes that Toastmasters offers the opportunity to discover your potential if you only take the opportunities that present themselves. So, Mike is going to talk about today step outside and seize the opportunity. When we first become a member of Toastmasters, we do not just become a member of our club, but a member of Toastmasters International, a worldwide organization. To get full value from our membership, we need to step outside our club and embrace the opportunities that await. It is my honor to introduce Mike Storkey, past international president. Step outside and seize the opportunity. Step outside and seize the opportunity, Mike Storkey.
Thank you for that introduction, and congratulations on District 100 in having the Learning Lab, because it enables us to gain knowledge that maybe we wouldn't find within our club. I'd like to ask you all a question. Did you join a club or a worldwide organisation? It always seems to me an incredible lack of getting full value for your membership if your total Toastmasters experience is what happens within the four walls of your club. There is a whole world of Toastmasters outside your club. And how many of us avail ourselves of that opportunity to step outside and seize the opportunities that await? I know when I joined the club, my nearest club, other than my club, was nearly 100 kilometres to the north or 200 kilometres to the south, because it was just a little resort town on the North Queensland coast, and we didn't have the possibilities of being able to go online in those days. And yet we used to visit our clubs quite often. We used to have interaction between clubs. And it was there that I found that I really started to appreciate all the things that were available outside of my club. Now, don't get me wrong, my club was a fantastic club. And I really put down my success in Toastmasters to the basic learning that I had in my club. But for the first 2 years as a member, I never stepped outside my club. I thought my club was the greatest club there was, and it probably was, but I had nothing to compare it with. I remember the first meeting I attended, and the first president of my club was dressed in a white rabbit suit because it was becoming or coming close to Easter. And she became my first mentor. And her first words to me were, "The day will come when you need to step outside this club." And at that time I thought, what? I've only just joined. Is she trying to get rid of me already? But her words echoed in my mind the further I progressed in Toastmasters. It's a bit like spending $50 on a buffet, walking in and only having the entree and not eating the rest of the food available. Are you getting value for the dollars you spend? There are so many aspects of Toastmasters outside of your club. And yet I can remember after 2 years of not stepping outside of my club, I was suddenly made aware that there was an area conference being held 100 kilometres away in the next club to us. And they said, "Are you going to go?" And I was aghast. I already go to 2 meetings a month. Why would I want to do something on a weekend? And suddenly the penny dropped. Well, I'll go and find out. That opened my eyes and began my career in Toastmasters. Now, how do you get members to step outside the club? Well, you've got to sell them the benefit. And perhaps the easiest way to do that is invite members from other clubs to visit your club first. And the reason for that is we all get a little bit brain dead if we never have any visitors or we never visit other clubs. And what I mean by that is we hear the same speakers in our club over and over again. And we become used to their style of speaking, their idiosyncrasies, and their mannerisms. And we sometimes turn a blind eye, just as they turn a blind eye to our speeches, mannerisms, and ways of presenting. And how do we grow if it is a closed society where nobody hears a different evaluation from someone who has never heard you before? And how do you speak to an audience that you have never spoken to before unless you step outside your club? I can remember the first time I stepped outside my club to give a speech, and it was to a Lions club. And the average age of the Lions in the club was about 65. And I, at the time, had written what I believed was a fantastic speech. And I arrived at the club and I was a bit nonplussed by the age of the audience, but I thought, oh, well, 5 minutes into this, well, not even 5 minutes into the speech, 2 minutes into the speech, I could tell that I was not connecting. And I had to completely rewrite the speech on the go. But you know, it taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me to feed off the audience. I had become so used to giving the speech in my club to the same people that I didn't have to react to the audience reaction. I knew what they would do, I knew what they wanted, and they knew me. It was safe. But I've got words for you. You don't learn necessarily always in a safe environment. Yes, it's safe to know that you can fail in your club and they'll support you, but do you grow if you don't step outside and seize the opportunity? Competition is one of the best ways of stepping outside your club. If you're fortunate enough to win a competition, you then go on to the next level, which necessitates you stepping outside your club. And that's where the growth really starts to happen. Other clubs do things differently, have different cultures, have different ways of seeing things. And whilst the program might be basically the same, the way they interpret it and do it is often quite different. How many of you have visited another club in the last 3 months? Can I have a show of hands? If you have, congratulations. If you haven't, might I suggest you think about it? And many districts are confined in areas so that it is easy to visit other clubs. In my district, in my area and my division, just to give you an idea of the size, my division covers the whole of Queensland, the Northern Territory, Papua New Guinea and Fiji. That's a big area to visit. And yes, I would willingly go to Fiji for the next club meeting, but I think that's a bit outside the budget. But I do encourage everybody to step outside their club if they really want to grow. But the thing that happens most in Toastmasters is we are exposed to opportunity, and yet very rarely do we seize that opportunity. How many times does the election in your club resemble the changing of the deck chairs on the Titanic? The president will become the VPE. The VPE may step up to be the president, and so on. And we're recycling. Now, in a club of 20 or 25 members, that's not acceptable. I can understand at the moment with some of our clubs who are challenged membership-wise that it might be a necessity. But in clubs that are over 18 or 19, we should change the guard. People should step up. If you were the vice president membership this year, take on a different role, one you haven't done, to allow someone else to try your previous role and you to try a new role, because that's the only way you're going to grow. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always got, and that is you will become staid, stodgy, and limited in your outlook. And the wonderful world of Toastmasters provides the opportunity to step outside. But once stepping outside, do you seize the opportunity? Now, I don't suggest that you should seize every opportunity. Sometimes we need to know when to say no if we feel we're not ready. Not no because we don't want to take on extra responsibility. Not no because we don't know how to do the job. Because the wonderful thing about Toastmasters is we learn by doing the job. We learn by taking on the role. And unless we accept the role, we're never going to learn how to fulfill it. But once we've accepted the responsibility of taking on the role, then we need to find out how to do it. And that means attending club officer training. Once again, that's stepping outside your club. It's mixing with another group who've taken on the same role as you and sharing experiences, asking questions, finding out how other people perform the role. Do other people have the same problems? Perhaps they've had the problem and are able to share the solution they found, all of which is growing. all of which is giving us the opportunity to grow as a Toastmaster. But Toastmasters isn't about simply growing as a Toastmaster. I didn't join Toastmasters to become a leader. I didn't join Toastmasters to improve my communication skills, though heaven knows I needed to. I joined Toastmasters simply because in my little resort town, there was no after five social activity that I could really get involved with. My wife and I had 5 children, and the only nightlife in the Whitsundays was either pubs or licensed clubs, nightclubs. And as the father of 5 kids going to high school, being seen nightly in pubs and clubs was not necessarily a good look. We wanted to expand our social activity. And when Toastmasters came to town and opened a new club, there was an opportunity to socialise. Little did I realise the doors that would open to me. Oh yes, I resisted for the first couple of years. I was quite happy and safe in my friendly, supportive atmosphere. But I wasn't growing until the lady in the white rabbit suit said to me, "Have you thought about taking on a club officer role?" And I said, "Why would I want to do that?" And she said, "Well, you'll get to meet and greet new people." And I said, "How would I do that?" She said, "Well, you'll have to attend executive meetings. You'll meet new people." And I thought, well, that's why I joined Toastmasters, wasn't it? Yeah, that's a good idea. So I stood for office and I lost. And my mentor came up to me and said, "So why do you think you lost?" And I said, "Oh, well, it wasn't the President of the United States I was standing for. I mean, it was." And she said, "That's why you lost." And those words rang true to me because I didn't put a full effort into it. I didn't really want it bad enough to try hard enough. The next year I was successful. And the next year I decided to go into club competition as well. It's amazing when you compete against others, whether it's for a leadership role or in a speech contest, you suddenly meet a group of people that are seizing the opportunity to expand their experience, their knowledge, and develop their confidence. But you have to be willing to take the risk. You have to accept the opportunity. It's easy to sit and enjoy the meeting. It's easy to sit and watch others take on the responsibilities for your club. It's easy to feel comfortable. But when you're comfortable, you don't grow. And one of the things that I learnt very early in Toastmasters is it gives us the opportunity to grow, not just as a Toastmaster, but as a useful, valued member of our community. It gives us the opportunity to develop skills that are transferable, that we can take outside our club into our community, our family, and our careers. But if we don't seize the opportunities that are presented, and if we don't go to places where those opportunities exist, how do we grow? So I challenge all of you, visit other clubs, take on leadership roles, enter competitions, because that is the full smorgasbord that Toastmasters offers us. And if we're not prepared to try new things and do new things, then we're not going to grow as an individual, as a communicator, or as a leader. Now, I've heard some very positive things at this meeting about being an area director, and it is one of the best roles, if not the best role, in Toastmasters. And I can say with some degree of confidence because I've had most of the roles. I will admit I've never been treasurer of my club, and I think my club is extremely grateful that I have made that decision because they are financially secure. But I have taken on most of the other club roles, but that is internal. The beautiful thing about being an area director is you step outside your club and get exposed to 4, 5, or 6 clubs that all do things differently, that have a different personality. And you suddenly find there's a whole world of Toastmasters outside your club. And the experience allows you to bring back some of the ideas from other clubs back to your club. Now, you might not change, but you can suggest, perhaps we could try to do this, or they did this as a fun session, and maybe we need to bring a little bit of fun into our meetings. Let's try that. If I hadn't have stepped outside my club, I wouldn't have been aware that that was available. But the biggest thing that I found was I could get a better understanding of what Toastmasters offers the members. It's a bit like a menu. It's on offer, but you have to make the decision to try something new, to try and do something differently, to see what works for you. And that never happens just in your club. Your club is the base from which you learn the basics, which gives you the support to step outside the club and venture into something new. How many of you have attended a district convention or conference? Show of hands, please. Conferences, oh, great. Conferences give you the opportunity to mix and mingle with others, to hear other accomplished speakers in the competitions, and to hear educational sessions presented, hopefully, by good facilitators that you don't get to hear necessarily in the confines of your club. All this adds to your growth. All this stimulates, I hope, your desire for more knowledge. Let's take it up another step. How many of you have visited the International Convention? Hands up, please. I see 1 or 2 hands. This is the next level of growth, because not only do you meet people from within your district from other clubs, but from other countries, from other districts, from other nationalities, all of which allows you to grow, all of which exposes you to opportunities you would never have seen or had the chance to participate in unless you'd taken that chance to step outside. So how do we do it? How do we take the opportunity, and why should we? Can I ask you to give me some feedback individually? Why did you join Toastmasters? Yamanga, would you like to give me why you joined
Yes.
Toastmasters?
When I was in Sri Lanka 13 years ago, I work at a university, engineering university. That time someone came to me and asked me to introduce about Toastmasters. Frankly speaking, I had no idea what it is Toastmasters. He told me, because English is my second language, it is Toastmasters is really going to help me to improve my English. So that's the reason I went there. And I had no idea until several years. Toastmasters has a two track, like a communication track and a leadership track. Always I was keep going in Toastmasters meeting because I really wanted to improve my English. That's the reason. But I saw lot of benefits, and it really helped me in my professional and social and academic life being a Toastmaster. That's why I'm still a Toastmaster, because of English, my
Thank
second language. Yes.
thank you, Yamanga. And yes, your English is far better than my Sri Lankan, I can assure you. Would someone else like to give me an experience of how they've stepped outside? Jackie, would you like to?
Hi. Yes, I was going to answer the question, why did I join Toastmasters? Is that it or a different question?
Well, why did you join Toastmasters? Yeah.
Yes, in 2017, I started looking at my children, how old my children were. And because of the nature of my husband's job, we've moved multiple times. And it caused me to stay home, and I started my own business. So I started thinking, well, what am I going to do? I need to figure something else out when they're gone, because that's the majority of what I do is the family. And I remembered that my mentor, who is a distinguished Toastmaster, told me right out of college to join Toastmasters. And I tried to join Toastmasters in 2000, in the year 2000, and I visited a club 4 times and was never asked to greet the club. I was never given any information, so I put it down. But I remembered that she said Toastmasters. I said, well, let me try it again 17 years later. And I joined Toastmasters to find out who I was at that moment and how to move to the next level. And it stuck. I initially joined and said I wanted to do this to figure out what I wanted to do, but I do want to compete in the speech contest. But I never competed in the speech contest. I wound up in leadership, and here I am.
And tell me, leadership has taken you where? What have you learnt from leadership?
Oh my gosh, what that's a loaded question because we could be here all day, and I don't want to take the time doing that. But I have learned so much about myself, things I thought I knew. My marriage is better as a result of it because I was able to just kind of communicate in a different way. And then with the children transitioning and leaving the nest, the communication changed and shifted. It helped me to understand how to pivot with the communication and understand being patient. So that's part of it, the communication, but leadership, learning how to deal with different people on my team, understanding their leadership style and learning to flex, that everything isn't about the way that I see things and I give information as a leader. I also have to be sensitive and understanding to how my team members receive information. So it's caused me to flex my communication style. All of that because of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Jackie. So if Jackie hadn't taken the opportunity of becoming a leader, all the things she's just talked about might never have happened. When you are a leader, the opportunity to grow is enormous. The experience you get is unforgettable. I've had the privilege of traveling to countries I would never have visited as a leader, but it all starts with stepping up in your club level to take on a leadership role. And from there, the world could be your oyster, but you have to seize the opportunity. And many of us taking that first step can be very, very nervous, unsettling, and sometimes challenging. But we don't learn if it's easy. We learn best if it's hard. And you don't learn from your successes, you learn from your failures. And you need to put yourself in the position to fail in order to grow. Because if you don't take the risk, you won't receive the benefits. Many of us feel comfortable And there's a nice feeling, but we are missing out on so much. How many of us get to a stage where we get DTM after our name? And I hear people say, well, I've got my DTM. What do I need to do now? Why should I stay in Toastmasters? I've achieved my goal. What does DTM stand for? It doesn't stand for don't time me, don't tell me. It stands for dedicated to mentoring. And we all have an opportunity to pass on the knowledge that we have gained to be a DTM to others. And I would dare say that none of us that are here that have achieved anything in Toastmasters did it without a mentor, a sponsor, or someone who encouraged us and passed on the knowledge and enthusiasm to get us to dare to step up and seize the opportunity. And that's the greatest opportunity available to all of us, is to share what we have learnt, to encourage others to take the opportunity to step outside and seize the opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. It isn't. And I'm not saying that you won't be nervous. And I'm not saying that it's not a challenging situation. It is. But that's what makes it so wonderful, is that it is different. It isn't humdrum. It's always something new. And you would never be bored. If you don't believe me, try it. I challenge all of you. In the next 4 weeks, see if you can visit a club that you haven't visited before. Now, I know many people say, that's rather difficult. We're a long way away from another club, or I just don't have the time. Give your members the opportunity of finding out what other members do by inviting another club. If they can't send 3 speakers to your meeting to be evaluated by your club, get them to send 3 video speeches to your club. Get your club to evaluate them and send the evaluations by video back to the other club. It's as simple as that. And you don't have to do it every meeting. But if you did it once a month or once every quarter, at least expose your members to the opportunity of what lies outside your club. The opportunity to hear new members, the opportunity to evaluate new members, and the opportunity to be evaluated yourself by others. Encourage your members to attend your division conferences, but there has to be something in it for them. So tell them of your experiences. Hold an educational, perhaps, before your division conference on what to expect at a division conference. If you are an online club, encourage them to visit online. That's very easy for them. I'm a great believer that face-to-face is by far the single most best method of communication, simply because you do get the interaction of a face-to-face. But if it's not possible because of time constraints, money constraints, distance constraints, then take the opportunity that technology offers us to at least step outside your club and benefit. Can I have an indication how many of those here are members of an online club? Put your hands up. I see a few hands going up. How many of you are members of a face-to-face club? I don't see too many. I see one. Yes, I see some. Bob Martin, would you like to tell us how many clubs you visited? Or do you go to your area or division or district conference?
Yeah, I've visited one other club about 6 months ago, I think, but it's on my agenda to get to a couple more.
Did you enjoy the experience?
Oh yeah, oh, it really was to see how similar things are and how different some things are, but they accomplish the same thing. And it's was evident that if people are comfortable with their environment, that they're going to do a better job. So the club that I did visit did a really good job of making me feel welcome.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Would anybody else like to talk about their experience of what they've gained from stepping outside their club?
I like to.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
During the pandemic, actually, it really helped me. I was in Rolla, Missouri, and I was an area director. That time I was not driving. So I was thinking, how am I going to visit this club? Because I did not have a driver's license. Anyhow, everything changed into the online. I was very fortunate to visit many clubs. That's the point I realized as an area director when I attend other clubs. In my area, they are, as Bob said, different. They are doing same thing in a different way. Then I thought this is a good opportunity for me to visit other clubs in United States. Not only United States, I visited around the world many clubs. So it really helped me to learn many things, how they are treating members, how they are gaining more members. So I look at in a different perspective to in the same thing to how am I going to achieve. Then I apply these things in when I was a club president that time, I apply these things in my club. So I realized when I learned these things, when I applying, how I got the great outcome. So I still like to achieve visit many club as a PQD. It is one of my goal to attend clubs and get to know them. Not only that, visit other clubs because we do as a PQD we do have a World PQD group. So when they post things, I attend their district events and get to know people and see how they are doing. It is a great opportunity I am having right now. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Charla, would you like to tell us about your experience?
Yes, thank you so much. Stepping outside of my corporate club allowed me to meet the wonderful people in District 56. Stepping outside of my club allowed me to meet wonderful mentors that completely changed my life. And one of my mentors in Toastmaster is the fantastic, we call her the godmother of District 56, Pamela McCowan. She completely, along, there's wonderful Toastmasters all around, but she really changed my whole life. She encouraged me to get into leadership. She introduced me to people all around the world. I'm able to meet people in California. I'm able to meet you from Australia. I mean, past international presidents. My life has changed so much for the better with having grown my Toastmasters family. I've grown as a better speaker, a better leader, and just a better person all around because of the fantastic connections that I have to our wonderful worldwide Toastmasters. And that's all happened because I was allowed to step outside of the club. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's funny you should mention Pam McCown because she and I talk on a weekly basis. She was my mentor when I first joined the board, and we've struck up a friendship ever since. But a wonderful lady. Yes. Bob, I saw you had your hand up. Did you want to have another? Obviously
No,
not.
I just didn't take it down.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Bob. Oh, that was just a leftover, was it? Not a problem. So The benefits you get from stepping outside of your club is you will meet new people. Yes, you will get mentors. You will see new ways of doing things, but you will also meet new circumstances you wouldn't meet in your club. For instance, when you take on area director, you're going to have to start talking to a different club. You're going to ask, they should ask to give you 10 minutes on their program to talk to them. You're going to be talking to a totally new audience. That is an experience that is worth gold. The more people you get to talk to, the better and more diversified your presentations will become. The better feedback you will get. But then what do you do with that information? I can't stress enough that everything we learn in Toastmasters is a transferable skill. We are not here to make better Toastmasters. We're here to make better people who can take the skills they learn in Toastmasters into their family, their career, and into their community. Because I was in Toastmasters, I got invited to be a adjudicator in a discussion, a rather heated discussion, between two volunteer organisations in the Whitsunday that were seeking to take control of the local market. The Lions Club and the Rotary Club were vying to do the job. And unfortunately, they got a bit heated under the collar. And they found it very hard to talk to each other one-on-one. And they asked the local Toastmasters club to step inside and, if you like, be an impartial observer, but an adjudicator to get them to talk. And we were able, it's a different set of circumstances, and I must admit when it first started, I thought, what on earth have I let myself in for? But I learned so much from doing that, where we successfully, and I mean, the solution was simple. One week, Lions would do it. The next week, the Rotary Club would do it. They shared responsibility. They got on well. They developed, and many of the members crossed over and were joint members of each club, whereas before they were a warring faction. After a few months, they were really working very well for the benefit of the community and for their members. And I have to say the markets really stepped up a notch because they had two perspectives on how to run the markets for the best for the community. And that to me was a tangible proof of how what we learnt in Toastmasters could be utilised for the benefit of the community. There are probably many other opportunities that exist. I know that Men's Shed have often used the local Toastmasters Club to assist them on giving presentations and what have you. There are so many things outside of Toastmasters we can do, but we've got to be prepared to seize the opportunity. Personal growth is what most of us came to Toastmasters for initially, whether it was to grow your social life, to grow your communication skills, or to grow your leadership skills. Very few of us really joined to grow our leadership skills. That grew out of our communication skills growing. And I tell you, many people say to me, I don't want to take on leadership. I just want to grow my communication skills. If you want to grow your communication skills, become a leader. You get far more opportunities to speak as a leader than just a member of the club, and in far more venues and situations than just a member giving a speech to a club. So it is an opportunity there to be taken. And many members I know say, oh, but if I take on leadership, I have to forego competition. Well, it depends how long you stay a leader for. There's nothing wrong with being a leader and going to the level. If you only want to go as far as being an area director, that's fine. If you only want to be a club leader, that doesn't preclude you from competing. It's only when you become a leader outside of the club level that you are prohibited from competing. So being a leader doesn't necessarily inhibit you from being competitive. Being a leader, in fact, boy, I can tell you, I've been in some elections for leadership positions outside the club where that was far more competitive than giving a speech competition. And it was another way of learning how to deal with losing. I ran for the board the first time, and there were 4 of us running at the time. And that was when, before we had the redistribution of regions, when there was America with regions, and then there was the rest of the world. And we had 2 directors representing the rest of the world, and the rest were from America. And I was trying to represent the rest of the world. And the 4 of us got on exceptionally well. But I came a very poor third out of the 4. And I learnt so much from losing at that election. The 4 of us used to go before the election. The 4 of us at the convention used to go and have lunch together. We used to go out and go and see the sights together. And people used to say to us, you 4 are competing against each other. How come you can socialise so much? And the thing I learnt from the 4 of us being together was, just because you're competing for a position doesn't mean you can't be friends, doesn't mean you can't share experiences, and doesn't mean you can't support each other. And that was a very valuable tool for me. And I wouldn't have got that if I hadn't have stood against 3 other members, formed a friendship and a bond, and learnt from them how to win and how to lose. And that's many things that we need to learn. Many of us are very good if we never lose, but we've lost the ability to lose. And to lose gracefully and learn from the losing experience is a very, very valuable lesson. And if you don't take the opportunity to compete, whether in a competition, in a leadership battle, you'll not gain vital skills that will help you in your life. And that can only be had if you seize the opportunity to take the risk of losing. So probably what I'm trying to get across to you all at the moment is, it is seizing the opportunity has inherent risks involved. Many times you take on a role in your career, not really knowing where that will lead or whether you actually enjoy the role. But sometimes you have to take on a task that you don't necessarily enjoy in order to develop the skills to go on to take a further role at the end of that one that you do enjoy. Not every experience in life is enjoyable. And the ones that stick in your mind are usually the ones you got the greatest joy out of, and the ones that you learnt the most out of, which sometimes can be the more painful experiences. But every experience is a learning tool, and you need to expose yourself to the opportunities of having those experiences. And to get them, many times, you have to step outside your comfort zone. And you notice, for the first time tonight, I've used the word zone. You could change that for club, because your comfort zone is a bit like your club. In it, you feel safe, you feel secure, you know what you are likely to be exposed to, and it is a feeling of security. Once you step outside that, is the unknown. But once you venture into the unknown, you start to learn things you would never, never have experienced before. How do you know? Many people say to me, I don't want to be a leader. And I say, so tell me about what leadership opportunities you're taking. Oh, no, I don't want to be a leader. And I say to them, well, how do you know if you've never tried it? If you've never taken on the role of a leader? You have to step outside your comfort zone, just the same as you have to step outside your club to broaden your experiences. Is there anyone else that'd like to share with us how stepping outside their club has broadened their horizons? Oh, come on, don't be shy. Put your hands up. I see a lot of names on the screen, but I don't see many hands putting up. Now's your opportunity to share your experience with someone else. And who knows, your experience might prompt someone else on this screen to take a chance, to take a risk, to step outside their zone. Who knows, I might be talking to a future international president, if only they'd step outside their club. No more takers? All right, let me give you some examples of what you can experience outside the club. Uma comes from Sri Lanka. I had the privilege of visiting District 82 in Sri Lanka a couple of times. Never have I seen a district that knew how to put on a district conference such as Sri Lanka. District 82 really know how to celebrate. They know how to throw an event. But you know what they know how to do? To do it very cheaply. Now, I don't mean that it was a shoddy or cheap experience. If you want to know how to get sponsorship so that you can have a conference that all your members can afford, go to Sri Lanka, visit Sri Lanka, talk to a Sri Lankan club, because they know how to get sponsorship. They used to put, when I was there, they put the conference on at a total cost. I think it was somewhere around about $60 all up for a 3-day conference, which that was including meals, including everything. And the way they did it is they have a lot of corporate clubs, and they go round to their corporate clubs and they say, look, we're having a conference. Would you like to sponsor it? You have a corporate club. Your members will learn so much from attending a conference and develop. And the companies that had corporate clubs put in sponsorship, which enabled the district to then give that benefit to their members of a low-cost event. And the members attended in vast numbers. It was a huge success. But they know how to do it. And if you want to find out how to do it, you need to talk to them. And the only way you're going to do that is either go online and talk to a corporate club in Sri Lanka, or if you have the opportunity, talk or visit Sri Lanka and go to the conference. But hats off, it was wonderful. I also had the opportunity to visit Singapore. And in Singapore, I went to a Mandarin international speech contest. The whole contest was held in Mandarin. Now, I do not speak Mandarin. And when I was invited to go, I thought, I'm not really sure that this is a good idea. It was a wonderful experience. I understood not a word, but I understood the facial expressions. I understood the gestures, and I got the gist of what they were trying to say, even though I didn't speak the language. An opportunity not to be missed. Go to things that you're not sure of. Go to things that you have not seen before. Take the opportunity when it presents itself and experience things that you have not experienced before, because those experiences would make you a better person. Now, I see Richard, who was a presenter earlier, and unfortunately, Richard, I missed your presentation. But Richard, would you like to talk about an opportunity you've seized or something you've gained from stepping outside of your club?
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of different clubs, and before COVID, I had the opportunity to complete a level in pathways at another club's meeting. And because they were in a physical meeting and because they actually had a meeting room at a restaurant and the meeting room was really large, I thought that all meeting rooms had the same voice projection. In order for the person at the back of the room to hear me, I had to really speak loud in my presentation. And that was an eye-opener.
And now you're prepared for that.
Yes, I am.
Look, there are so many little things you take away with you that sometimes you're not even aware that you have learned something until you go back to your club and they'll say, "Where did you learn to do that?" And you'll say, What do you mean?" "Oh, well, you engaged us by doing something. I've never seen you do that before." And suddenly the penny will drop that it was an experience you had at another club, at another venue, or to another group that had suddenly stuck in your mind and you thought, "Oh, I'm going to try that." And it works. You've got to seize the opportunity. It's too easy to be comfortable. We didn't join Toastmasters to be comfortable. I mean, for those of us that did join to develop our communication skills, remember the first time you got up to give your icebreaker or give a speech, and your knees were knocking. You didn't know if you'd have two intelligent words, one after the other, and you shook. But if you're still there, you survived that and you learnt from the experience. And it was all because you took the plunge and stepped outside of your comfort zone. Expand that. Step outside of your club. Now that you have got the basics, I implore you, step outside your club to gain the full measure of what is available in Toastmasters. Your club will support you. Your club will give you the basics. But if you want to reach your full potential, you need to step outside your club and seize the opportunities. Take the risk. The benefits far outweigh the negatives. You will develop friends worldwide. You will develop friends in other clubs. You will probably be invited to visit them again. You will be able to share the knowledge you have with a far bigger audience. And as I said earlier, DTMs, to all the DTMs that are watching, stands for dedicated to mentoring, passing on the knowledge you have acquired. For most of us here would not be where we are now if it hadn't been for mentors and people who had passed on and taken the time to share with us tips and skills that are invaluable. But you also learn from experiencing different communities, different cultures, different ways of doing things that make you into the communicator or the leader or the person you were meant to be. And that's exactly what Toastmasters is all about. It is a journey, and a journey doesn't stop and start with just the first step. A journey is a series of steps, and stepping outside your club is part of the journey of Toastmasters. I encourage you all to encourage your members to step outside their club, to step outside their leadership capacity at the moment, seize the opportunities that are available throughout this organisation to become a better person, a better member of the community, a better leader, and hopefully a better Toastmaster. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike, for such a wonderful presentation. It was great. Thanks again for sharing your all Toastmasters experience. You came outside of club and became past international president, and these are very valuable to all Toastmasters. And thanks again. We really like you to be our special guest speaker. So, as I shared with you, we do have other September, October, November, and whole year first Sunday and the fourth Saturday. These learning labs. When you are available, please join with us. We really thank you to being here today, and again have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Thanks again. Have a good day to everyone. Bye bye.